in other departments of the airline business. Because holistically, the airline only survives when all the various subunits or the business units of the airline business are exposed to training. And this training may be very expensive now, but sponsorship is the key. Corporate sponsorship, public sponsorship. Thankfully, the government is looking at it from the angle of legislation. If that legislation goes through, I read it a couple of weeks back, if it does go through and is passed by the National Assembly, it will become mandatory, not just for the state government, but even for multinationals who are exploiting resources from this country to train and to sponsor and train people in this industry. That is the way, and I'm sure another next decade, so to say, we'll have a next set of generation of people who do not just understand this business, but know how to do it and sustain the business. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that elaborate submission. Really thank you for the insights. I'll just quickly jump to, for the want of time, I'll quickly jump to Mr. Idris Onifade, Director of Studies, University of Aviation. So my question to you will be, your institution is right at the center of what we are talking about. You know, when all the students get their loans or scholarship, it is you they come to, it give you all the money for them to be trained. But my question would be, do your institution offer, as a way of encouraging the sector, some kind of scholarship or sponsorship in your organization? Are there incentives, are there programs that can encourage the, call it, quote unquote, the less advantaged people that cannot really get access to funding to come, to pay the full tuition? What are your programs like? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. The representative of the DG and other dignitaries on the high table, the guest, the moderator of the panel session, and everybody around. Thank you for spending time with us today. We sincerely want to once again appreciate Mama J for putting this together and encouraging the new generation to have a place in the aviation sector. If the question the moderator has asked was different from what he asked, I would have craved his indulgence to do justice to exactly what you have asked, because that is the area I'm coming from. We are an aviation training organization, and basically we look into the area of welcoming new people into the industry. Before now, because I am a bit of the present generation, as you must have seen, I'm a bit young. So before now, we've heard a lot about sponsorship. Majority of the airlines sponsor fresh graduates like my very senior, the former fan MD. I don't even know, he's not a senior colleague. He's the father in the industry, yes. So, like he has said, they train fresh graduates, but that is very scarce now. Now, for you to get into the industry, you have to find your way into the training. Then you get the right certification, the right license, then you go out there to source for the job. Now, there are so many people that have this dream since when they were young, like, from primary school, from secondary school. We have some of them here that would have loved to become pilots, dispatchers, cabin crew, and the likes. And some of these dreams are cut short because of funds. So now, the airlines might not be able to sponsor as much as they do in the past. Now we are looking at organizations that might not even be in aviation coming in to help these young people achieve their dreams. As an aviation school, we have some people that have approached us. We have the African Aviation Group. I think it's one of the very popular group in the country. And Universal School of Aviation gives some slots to them, on a yearly basis, up to the tune of about 10 million naira. But these 10 million naira slots now might not be able to train all the people running to this Africa Aviation Group, for an instance. There are a lot of people that want to become, one aviation professional, one field or the other and all. So now these funds that have been given in form of scholarship to this African Aviation Group and Student Aviation Club, there are two of them we sponsor, cannot cover the load of requests they get on a yearly basis. our fund does not exceed more than, I think, 10 cabin crew in a year. We do not give scholarship for more than 10 cabin crew because we can only do what is sustainable too as an organization. We do not give more than 10 dispatch slots in a year. The travel and tourism courses, we do not give more than 20 in a year. And you see the organizers and the people, moving these groups coming to tell us, we have a list of almost 70 people. We have a list of about 100 people, and we are only able to take care of maybe 30, 40 per year. So, what we are saying here is there is need for more stakeholders or interested organization that wish that the aviation industry gets newcomers. We have Mama J doing our own part from these aspects of bringing us all together and reminding us of the need to welcome new people through sponsorship. We have some airlines doing internal retraining because airlines will continue to retrain their staff, but the airlines are not really welcoming graduates that they used to do before. They are not really, I think the economy affected that area. So as an aviation school, we also want to crave the indulgence of those other aviation training organizations present. If we can all come together and do our bit to welcome the people that have interest in aviation industry. The younger visitors that we have here today from the secondary school and the primary school, if they can join groups like this, and then they start lining on the queue. Once they finish their education, possibly they will have gotten to the top of the queue in places like that. And if other aviation schools come in and maybe some airlines come in to sponsor Africa Aviation Group and some of these student aviation clubs and the likes, I think the opportunity will be broadened now. There will be more slots available. I'm from Universal School of Aviation, and we just moved to Sierra Leone. On getting to Sierra Leone, we realized that majority of the people that go into aviation in that country are sponsored because they do not have an aviation school in the country, so you have to go outside the country. And an average Sierra Leonean cannot afford to go outside Sierra Leone to go and train. So majority of those that are in the field, that are citizens of that country, were sponsored either by the government of that country or by foreign organizations. So if we bring the same thing back home, every state government, deliberately choose to train people in the aviation sector. Not only the North, not only Niger Delta, we have gotten requests from Niger Delta requesting to train people in the North because we have a campus in Abuja. Our data shows that about 20% of our students in Abuja are sponsored by, politicians from their constituency, and so they do a lot of sponsorship in the North. But these are individual sponsorship. We want corporate sponsorship. People should partner with organizations. Imagine about 2 airlines coming to partner with Mama J and say, Mama J, you can always get a sponsorship for maybe 20 slots per year. She will use a platform to sell out these slots to the public because majority of aspirants and people that really dream of coming into aviation, especially cabin crew, they see Mama J as their mentor, So when she has such slots, she will know how to give it out to the right people. So in summary, because I don't want to say much, I have elders on the table that will do justice to all of this. In summary, sir, Universal School of Aviation, through Student Aviation Club and through Africa Aviation Group, gives out about between 40 to 50 slots of scholarship on a yearly basis. So see that we welcome you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Idris. You made some points that two for me are very salient. One is the scholarship the Universal Aviation School of Aviation gives out. I'm privy to you. I'm on that platform of African Aviation, so I can attest to the fact of what you're saying, that you're not lying. Because if you're lying, I will have done fact check on you. So you're not lying. I've seen that platform call for students to for individuals to kind of go through the process, and then some people win the scholarship, and I've seen people also graduate and come to testify. So kudos to you on that. The second point you made, which I think is valid, is when you said organizations can partner with Mama J's platform to not sell out these slots, but use it as a platform to also grow capacity in the industry. Thank you very much. So quickly, I'll move to Mr. Wakil. Thank you for the. I also want to crave the indulgence of the House to say it's not every day you see these panelists, come to an event. So please give them a round of applause. I've just seen some of them for quite a while as well. So Mr. Wakil, you are a regulator or work with Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, and you regulate the industry. But the thing that strikes me the most is that you are a human resource and director of human resource, and this has to do with capacity, human capacity building. So apart from being a regulator and coming to your direct office in human resource, is there anything that NCA is doing? Because why I ask this is, there is no clear pathway for people that want to pursue a career in aviation. I stumble into the sector, and most people also stumble in. So there's no clear pathway. Elsewhere in the world, from as low as 3 years or 5 years old, ask some people, what do you want to be? I want to be a pilot when I grow up, and all that stuff, because they have a clear-cut pathway to go through. And also know that in the Civil Aviation Authority in South Africa, they have a program called JAP, with which you go to schools to create awareness about careers in aviation and help students and create bursaries for them. Is there any kind of program like that at NCA? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I am very glad to be part of this exercise, and first and foremost, we should realize that individuals or personnel remain personnel without being trained, and once they are trained, they become human capital. This is fundamental. So training and sponsorship are very key in every organization. As one of the KPIs of the Nigerian Civil Aviation is to train the personnel, and it is made mandatory to ensure that the technical trainings are key, and of course this is what it is being done internally to ensure that yes, you have to have the key personnel technically sound, trained and retrained continuously to be able to achieve the International Civil Aviation Organization's mandates, which they regularly come for auditings and so on. And once you have that, you will be performed and then rated very low. And in that case, the issue at stake in NCA is about safety and security, including economic viability for the country as a whole. So it is in place that such trainings have to be carried out and then be done on a continuous basis, because without that, we'll be experiencing what we don't want to go back to, the crashes. And once there is one, unfortunately, a lot of things go haywire. Human lives, money, including the investment by the airlines. So we don't joke with training. It is one of our mandates that we are actually being measured on. So therefore, such things are there. But then now let's talk on the issues of the theme of this conference, that is empowering the youth, sponsorship on the basis of training. All of us are aware where money goes to this country. What we really would want to put in place, as Mr. Idris rightly said, there are going to be a coordinating or some group that will lead this kind of coordination, like Mama J, right? We identify the the captains of industries, not necessarily aviation industry alone, captains of industries, those who are well-to-do, right, can now put some kind of resources into some corpus for somebody to coordinate to ensure that we train and retrain people, catch them young, and then of course let them replace us. We can't be here all the time. We were not here before. We took over from others, and therefore we have to ensure that some people have to come and take over from us. And the way you can do this is to ensure that you train and retrain. But then you cannot train without money, right? Source out where you can get money to ensure that you do a kind of community service for others to come over. And so it is always difficult for people to volunteer. You have to pursue, push, and ensure that you regulate and obtain money, goodwill, right, infrastructure, etc. to ensure that these kind of things are done. Our main operations is actually the regulation and oversight. Who does what? How do you do it well? Do you have the manpower to do that? Do you have the human capacity, the capital, right? The human capital to ensure that you do this and ensure that, yes, you have to comply with the rules and regulations. So these are the issues that we need to do. We have to bring out, go for those who actually have money, right? And then ensure that you train your neighbors, your friends, and other persons who may not be able to have that money to do. And then the aviation industry, as you rightly initially said, when you started, that it is an industry that requires a lot of resources. It cannot be just, sponsoring or training just an individual to become a pilot, it's millions of naira, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that. And if you don't have maybe a pool and a coordinator to ensure that they lead in ensuring people bring out their resources to help others, it will work. So the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority actually has as its key function the aspect of training. Whoever comes into it technically is not that he has to go for a mandatory training on a yearly basis and continuously. So this is one of the KPIs that is being measured. That we do. One of our KPIs is key performance indicators is training. So there is training in place. But actually, I'm not saying it is for everybody and any other person. No. For those that are within, to ensure that safety and security and of course economic regulations are performed effectively and sustainably so that we avoid issues of crashes and accidents and then those kind of things. So actually there is this training thing in place. So thank you very much. Just a summary of the generality, right? So we actually have to show concern about training, and we have to fund it. Without it, forget it. And once we forget, the industry collapses. And we cannot afford to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wakil. Of course, like you already mentioned, training is a no-brainer with a regulator like the NCA. People must have to be trained. But of course, in this context, we are looking at how NCA can help train others to come into the industry. I remember that the former DG Demore used to have some programs like that to train youngsters into the industry, but that was not scaled. So for me, I think a takeaway for me to the agency, or to the authority, and to the DG as well, is to kind of somewhat create some kind of trust fund that no matter how little money can be put aside to train the next generation in aviation, of course, in this country. And of course, an institution like this, like Mama J, can help in articulating that to make sure that these funds can be readily utilized. Thank you very much, sir. So I'll go to Percival. Thank you for your patience. You are one of the individuals I know that works for international airlines. In my last count, maybe 5 of them. And you have had a wide range of experience in this regard. So, as regards to training and sponsorship, and in your expanse career with these international airlines that fly in here and have so much resource from this country, are you privy to any kind of sponsorship or scholarship that these airlines provide? And if not, is there any role you can play in helping the airlines or the international airlines you represent here to kind of look in that direction for capacity building? Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Mama J, for putting me on the spot. I'll be standing on the protocols already established, if you don't mind. And I would like to say thank you to the gentleman from Universal, right? Yeah, thank you very much. Great job you are doing. I was privileged to engage some of your students here, just out of curiosity, wondering what are all these young people doing here. Then my brain connected that this is the reason why they are here, but most importantly, to find out what the interest is for them in aviation. Like Tony said, I came into the industry by accident and haven't been able to leave since then. Yes, once you are beaten by that bug, that's it. You can't go away. Now, sitting here, listening, and thank you for making me the last person because it gave me opportunity to listen to everybody and try to articulate what I'm going to say. So I've been making notes, not chatting. So people might think, oh, he's busy faffing around on his phone. I was actually writing my speech. I think I take it first from the operating word there, which is sponsorship. And I looked up the meaning of sponsorship. It says the act of supporting an event, activity, person, or organization financially or through provision of products or services. I have been fortunate, and I think it's grace, and I thank God for that. I've been in the industry since 93, 94. I know practically everybody sitting here. What is important for me is the grace that the companies I've worked for have spent a lot of money developing me as a person. In the past, training was like life force. It was the water, the air you breathe to work in this industry. And it's sad to see now that training has taken back burner. Not because training isn't important or capacity building isn't important, it's the cost involved. So a lot of people are looking for people who already have one foot in the door. Reason why all the Universal Training Academy, right? School of Aviation, forgive me, I apologize. The Universal School of Aviation as a point of reference is in business, because airlines are not spending that much anymore. Not because they don't want to, but go back the history of COVID in the last few years. So many people have, a lot of companies are not making money. So when you talk training, is the last thing they want to hear. Now, how can this be resolved? Or how can we look at public partnership in sponsorship? So a few of the things, thankfully, listening to other people speak, I was able to come up with, listening to them is one, a deliberate act from the point of the regulator. The regulator being the Civil Aviation Authority, looking at possibility of collaborating with the Nigerian NSTIF, Nigerian
Social Insurance Fund.
Et voila. Sorry, I know the acronym, but trying to remember what it means. A collaboration between the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority and the NSTIF raising a bill through the houses. I know it will go from the Senate to the rep or vice versa, to encourage companies to sponsor. But sponsorship, for me, you can't ask somebody to sponsor you if there's nothing they are benefiting from it. So if you are expecting them to grow capacity, which they all ultimately will benefit from, or may not, for one reason or the other, is to give them an incentive. So sponsorship is not, oh, give us money, we want to train and develop these people. What is in it for me? I work hard for my money. So if you're asking me to give up a percentage of my money in this, what is there for me? So the act through the upper and lower houses is essentially to create a bill that supports tax havens or tax holidays for these companies. So if ideally you tax me 45% a year of my annual revenue after taxes and deductibles, is it possible for that to be lowered by a certain percentage, which encourages me to give this back to the society? That is on the one hand. That's collaboration. Also under collaboration is take for instance the Lagos State Security Trust Fund, for instance. A lot of the cars you see running all over the place are not paid for by Lagos State. There are companies who are established in Lagos, irrespective of what it is they produce. They all enjoy the security provided by the state. Security sounds expensive till you have a breach. Then you understand that it isn't expensive at all. So it's the possibility of the Civil Aviation Authority encouraging growing a trust fund for aviation sponsorship. And this, I think, could be through, the royalties generated from activities of airlines operating in the country, or because civil aviation, not necessarily physically coming into the country, overflights. So there's a lot of money generated from these activities. Is it possible for the Civil Aviation Authority, through an act, of course, because they can't just create these things themselves, and I don't think the ICAO regulation also gives that latitude, so please correct me if I'm wrong, the possibility of setting aside funds. You said use the word trust fund. I was trying to think of what this should be, like a foundation or a trust fund that is driven or generated from a certain percentage of money is made from overflight charges and royalties. Also, student loans. The gentleman that mentioned student loans. Student loans outside Nigeria is interesting. Two of my kids are on student loans. But the most important thing is student loans in Nigeria also would require like an act as well. Is it possible for the CAA? I keep coming back to you, not to put you on the spot, sir, but given that you regulate the industry, it gives you the strong footing to be the catalyst for this. How can the CAA, through the Bank of Industry, through the houses again, generate funds? I mean, we have the National Sovereign Trust Fund, I believe. This is supposed to be invested in different aspects of the development of the economy. So capacity building through NSTIF with the NCAA as a driver could also be a point where we can look at funding this industry. If people want to take student loans must be something around single digit, 0 point something, no higher than 3%. And give them a 25-30 years pay mortgage. Why can't students spend the next 35? Because if the demographics here, the ladies I spoke with are between 19, but looking at the young ones here, so you're looking at the demographic here is 9 to 25. So if they come into production, because some of the people I spoke with actually are graduates who now decide they want to go into the industry and are doing entry-level trainings. If the person is 19 minus 35 years, give the person the length of time to pay the loans back, but at single digits. Because if banks are charging 18 to 23 it's a no-brainer. It's dead on arrival. So if you are going to drive for